In the year 2147, humanity had reached a level of progress that once seemed impossible. People no longer lived only on Earth. They had built colonies on distant planets and moons, spreading their influence across the stars. To protect these faraway homes, massive fleets of warships patrolled space, ready to defend against any threat. Among these ships stood the Colossus Asterisk, a giant vessel so large it could carry entire armies inside it. It was designed by Richard Grayson, one of Earth's most famous engineers. The Colossus Asterisk was seen as a symbol of human strength and ingenuity. But not everyone celebrated its creation. Laura Myers, an astrophysicist known for her quiet but determined nature, had been warning people about the dangers of building such enormous war machines. She believed these ships sent the wrong message to the universe. Instead of showing peace and cooperation, they showed aggression and greed. Laura had tried many times to speak out, but her warnings were ignored. Governments and corporations cared more about power than caution. One day, Laura was invited to speak at a meeting of the United Nations Space Council. This was her chance to make her voice heard. Sitting in a large room filled with important leaders, she took a deep breath and began. "We are playing with fire," she said, looking directly at the council members. "These giant warships might seem like protection, but they are also a challenge to anyone watching us from the stars. We are telling the universe that we are ready to fight." Her words made some people uncomfortable, but most just shook their heads. One man even laughed. "Dr. Myers," he said, "we need these ships to keep our colonies safe. If we don't show strength, others will take advantage of us." Laura wanted to argue, but she knew it was pointless. These people didn't want to listen. They were too proud of what they had built. After the meeting, Laura walked through the crowded streets of New York City, feeling frustrated. She passed by screens showing news reports about the Colossus Asterisk. Reporters called it a marvel of engineering, a ship that proved humanity's dominance in space. Children stared at the images, dreaming of adventure among the stars. Laura sighed. How could she convince people that this wasn't the right path? At home, she turned on her computer and began writing another article. She hoped someone somewhere would read it and understand. But deep down, she feared it was already too late. Humanity had set something in motion, and there was no way to stop it now. Far away, in orbit around Earth, the Colossus Asterisk floated silently in the darkness of space. Its sleek metal surface reflected the light of the sun. Inside, Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge, gazing out at the endless void. He felt a mix of pride and unease. The ship was beautiful, but it also felt like a weapon waiting to be used. Little did he know, his doubts would soon become reality. As days passed, strange things started happening near the edges of human-controlled space. Ships reported seeing unusual objects moving faster than anything humans had ever created. Some claimed to have detected energy signals coming from nowhere. At first, these reports were dismissed as glitches or mistakes. But then, something undeniable occurred. The Colossus Asterisk, on patrol near the edge of known space, encountered a mysterious ship. It shimmered like liquid silver and moved with incredible speed. When Captain Hayes ordered his crew to communicate, the alien ship responded, not with hostility, but with a chilling message. "Your creations offend us." No one knew what to do. The encounter left everyone shaken. Back on Earth, Laura watched the news unfold, her heart sinking. She had warned them. Now, it seemed her worst fears were coming true. The encounter with the alien ship sent shockwaves through the crew of the Colossus Asterisk. Captain Daniel Hayes stood frozen on the bridge, staring at the shimmering silver vessel hovering silently outside their viewport. It was unlike anything humanity had ever seen, smooth, fluid, and glowing faintly as if alive. The message it had transmitted, "Your creations offend us," reverberated in his mind. "What do we do now?" asked Lieutenant Karen Miller, her voice trembling. She was young and still new to space missions, but even the more experienced crew members looked uneasy. "We follow protocol," Daniel replied firmly, though his hands were clenched tightly behind his back. Prepare a response. Let's try to communicate. The communications officer, Alex Carter, nodded and began typing commands into his console. He sent a carefully worded message. We mean no harm. We are explorers seeking peaceful contact. The seconds ticked by agonizingly slow as they waited for a reply. But instead of answering, the alien ship emitted a pulse of energy that rippled through the Colossus *. Lights flickered, screens went dark, and alarms blared across the ship. Shields are down, shouted the engineer, Sarah Blake. They're disrupting our systems. Panic spread among the crew. Daniel hesitated, torn between defending his ship and avoiding escalation. Finally, he gave the order. Fire a warning shot. Let them know we're not helpless. The plasma cannons roared to life, sending bright streaks of energy toward the alien vessel. But to everyone's astonishment, the shot simply vanished upon hitting its surface, absorbed without leaving a mark. Moments later, the alien ship emitted another pulse, this time stronger, knocking out all power aboard the Colossus *. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the mysterious craft turned and disappeared into the void. Silence filled the bridge. No one spoke as the crew worked frantically to restore power. When the lights finally came back on, Daniel slumped into his chair, his face pale. Report everything to command immediately, he ordered. And make sure Earth knows exactly what happened here. Back on Earth, news of the encounter spread like wildfire. Videos of the alien ship played endlessly on screens around the globe. Some people cheered, calling it proof of extraterrestrial life. Others panicked, fearing an imminent invasion. Governments scrambled to prepare for the worst, while scientists debated whether the aliens posed a threat or simply wanted to send a message. Laura Myers watched the chaos unfold from her small apartment. She felt a sinking feeling in her stomach. This is what I warned them about, she muttered to herself. Humanity's obsession with building massive warships had provoked something far beyond their understanding. She picked up her phone and called Emily Grayson, the daughter of Richard Grayson, the man who had designed the Colossus *. Emily, have you seen the news? Laura asked when Emily answered. Yes, Emily replied, her voice heavy with worry. Dad won't admit it, but I think he's starting to realize how dangerous this is. Did you see the footage? That ship didn't attack. It just reacted. I know, Laura said, but people aren't listening. They're already talking about upgrading weapons and building even bigger ships. If we don't stop this cycle, things will only get worse. Meanwhile, Richard Grayson sat alone in his office, staring at blueprints of the Colossus *. His pride in creating the ship was overshadowed by doubt. He replayed the video of the alien encounter over and over, trying to understand what had gone wrong. Was it really his fault? Or was humanity simply unprepared for what lay beyond the stars? As days passed, similar encounters were reported throughout human-controlled space. Alien ships appeared briefly near colonies and military vessels, delivering cryptic messages like "cease your arrogance" or "undo what you've built." Each appearance left humans more frightened and divided. Some leaders argued for peace, urging humanity to dismantle its largest warships. Others insisted on preparing for war, convinced that the aliens would eventually attack. Amid the growing tension, Laura organized protests outside government buildings, holding signs that read, "Stop provoking the unknown." She pleaded with anyone who would listen. "We can still fix this," she told reporters, "but we need to act now before it's too late." Yet despite her efforts, fear continued to drive decisions. Factories worked overtime to produce new weapons, and engineers sketched plans for even larger ships. Humanity stood at a crossroads, teetering between destruction and survival. And somewhere in the vastness of space, the aliens watched, waiting to see what choice humanity would make. The encounters with the alien ships grew more frequent, and each one left humanity more uneasy. Colonies on distant planets reported sightings of shimmering vessels appearing near their borders, sending pulses of energy that disrupted communications and power grids. The messages from the aliens remained consistent: cease your arrogance, or undo what you've built. Yet, no matter how many times they repeated these warnings, humanity struggled to agree on what to do next. Governments around the world were divided. Some leaders argued for peace, urging humanity to dismantle its largest warships and show the aliens they meant no harm. Others saw the encounters as a sign of weakness and pushed for increased militarization. Factories worked day and night to produce new weapons, while engineers scrambled to design even bigger and more powerful ships. Among them was Richard Grayson, the man who had designed the Colossus *. Though he tried to focus on his work, doubts gnawed at him. One evening, Richard sat in his office, staring at the blueprints of a new warship. His daughter, Emily, walked in and closed the door behind her. "Dad," she said softly, "you can't keep ignoring this. Every time we build something bigger, it just makes things worse." Richard sighed and leaned back in his chair. "I know," he admitted reluctantly. "But what am I supposed to do? These ships are my life's work. If I stop now, people will say I failed." Emily placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's not about failure. It's about doing the right thing. Laura Myers is out there trying to make people listen. Maybe it's time you joined her." Richard didn't respond. He wanted to believe Emily was right, but the weight of his responsibility felt too heavy. How could he undo years of effort when so many depended on his designs for protection? Meanwhile, Laura Myers continued her fight for peace. She organized rallies outside government buildings, holding up signs that read, "Stop provoking the unknown," and "Choose peace over war." Her protests drew both supporters and critics. Some called her brave, while others accused her of being naive. But Laura refused to give up. She believed humanity still had a chance to change course before it was too late. At one rally, a young reporter approached her. "Dr. Myers," he asked, "do you really think dismantling our ships will make the aliens leave us alone?" Laura nodded firmly. "It's not just about the ships," she explained. "It's about showing them we're willing to change. Right now, all they see is aggression. If we want peace, we have to prove we're ready for it." Her words spread quickly through news outlets, inspiring some but angering others. President William Carter, the leader of Earth's United Nations Space Council, faced mounting pressure to act. On one side, military advisors urged him to prepare for war. On the other, scientists and activists begged him to pursue diplomacy. After days of deliberation, Carter made a decision. He called an emergency meeting with his top advisors. "We need to send a message," Carter announced. "Not with weapons, but with words. Find someone who can negotiate with these aliens, someone they'll trust." The room fell silent. No one knew how to approach beings so different from humans. Finally, one advisor spoke up. "What about Laura Myers? She's been advocating for peace since the beginning. Maybe she can help us find common ground." Carter hesitated. He didn't fully agree with Laura's methods, but he couldn't deny her dedication. Reluctantly, he agreed to meet with her. When Laura arrived at the council chambers, she found herself face to face with some of the most powerful people on Earth. For once, they listened as she outlined a plan to reach out to the aliens peacefully. "We need to send a small, unarmed ship," Laura explained. "No weapons, no threats, just a gesture of goodwill. If we can show them we're serious about changing, maybe they'll give us a chance." The council debated her proposal long into the night. In the end, they reluctantly approved the mission, though many doubted it would succeed. As Laura left the chambers, she felt a glimmer of hope. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Far away, in the depths of space, the alien ships continued their watchful vigil. They had seen humanity's fear, its division, and its determination to fight. Now, they waited to see if the humans would finally choose a different path. Days turned into weeks as humanity prepared for the diplomatic mission proposed by Laura Myers. The plan was risky, but it was the only hope of avoiding a catastrophic conflict with the mysterious aliens. A small unarmed ship called the Aurora was chosen for the task. It wasn't designed for battle. Instead, it was built for exploration and research, making it the perfect symbol of peace. Captain Samantha Brooks was selected to lead the mission. Known for her calm under pressure and years of experience navigating uncharted space, Samantha was trusted to handle whatever challenges lay ahead. Joining her were Laura Myers, who had fought tirelessly for this chance at diplomacy, Emily Grayson, whose technical expertise would be crucial, and Marcus Reed, a linguist skilled in deciphering alien languages. Before departure, the crew gathered in a briefing room to discuss their strategy. "This isn't just about talking," Laura said, looking around the table. "It's about showing them we're willing to change. Every action we take has to reflect that." Samantha nodded. "Understood. We'll approach them peacefully and let them set the tone. If they want to communicate, Marcus will handle it. If they don't, we'll retreat without provoking them." The team spent hours going over every detail, knowing failure could mean disaster. As the launch date approached, tensions ran high. Protesters gathered outside the spaceport, some cheering for peace, while others shouted warnings against trusting the aliens. Despite the noise, the crew focused on their mission, determined to make humanity proud. Finally, the day arrived. The Aurora launched into orbit, its sleek frame cutting through Earth's atmosphere. Millions watched live broadcasts of the ship leaving the planet, their hopes resting on its success. For days, the crew traveled through the vast emptiness of space, heading toward coordinates where alien ships had last been spotted. When they reached their destination, the sight took their breath away. An enormous armada of alien vessels floated in formation, their shimmering surfaces glowing faintly like stars. Each ship moved with fluid grace, creating intricate patterns that seemed almost alive. The Aurora approached cautiously, its engines silent as it drifted closer. Suddenly, one of the alien ships detached from the group and glided toward them. Its surface rippled like water, shifting colors with every movement. Samantha held her breath as the ship stopped just a few meters away. A holographic figure appeared before them, an alien being unlike anything they'd imagined. Its form constantly changed, flowing between shapes and hues, as if unable to settle on a single appearance. "Humans," the alien said in a voice that resonated deeply. "You have come." Marcus stepped forward, his heart pounding. He had studied countless alien dialects, but none like this. Taking a deep breath, he spoke. "We are here to listen. Please tell us what you want." The alien tilted its head, studying them. "Your kind builds machines of war, spreading fear across the stars. You claim to seek peace, yet your actions speak otherwise." Laura stepped forward next, her voice steady despite her nerves. "We understand our mistakes. That's why we've come, to show we're ready to change. We've started dismantling our largest warships. We want to prove we can be better." The alien paused, its form shifting rapidly. Then it spoke again. "Your words carry weight, but actions define truth. Return to your world and undo the harm you have caused. If you fail, we will act decisively." With that, the hologram vanished, and the alien ship turned away, rejoining the Armada. The crew of the Aurora sat in stunned silence, unsure whether they had succeeded or failed. Samantha broke the quiet first. "Let's get back to Earth. They gave us a chance. We can't waste it." As the Aurora began its journey home, the crew reflected on what they had seen and heard. The aliens' ultimatum was clear. Humanity had to dismantle its warships and abandon its aggressive ways, or face the consequences. Back on Earth, news of the encounter spread quickly. People debated fiercely, some arguing that dismantling their defenses would leave them vulnerable, while others insisted it was the only way to avoid destruction. Amid the chaos, Laura knew the hardest part was yet to come. Convincing humanity to truly change wouldn't be easy, but it was the only path forward. When the Aurora returned to Earth, the crew delivered their report directly to President William Carter and his advisors. The room was tense as Samantha Brooks recounted every detail of their encounter with the aliens. Laura Myers stood beside her, her expression calm but resolute, while Emily Grayson and Marcus Reed listened quietly, still processing what they had witnessed. "The aliens gave us a choice," Samantha explained. "They said we must dismantle our largest warships and prove we're willing to change. If we don't, they'll intervene, and we don't know what that means." President Carter rubbed his temples, clearly overwhelmed. "So they're giving us an ultimatum. No negotiations, no compromises. Just do as they say or face the consequences." Laura stepped forward. "It's not just about dismantling ships. It's about showing them we're ready to rethink how we approach space. We've been reckless, expanding without considering the impact. This is our chance to fix that." The president looked at her skeptically. "And if we comply, how can we be sure they won't attack anyway? What if this is all a trick?" "We can't be sure," Laura admitted. "But staying on this path only guarantees conflict. If we refuse, we risk losing everything." Debate erupted in the room. Military leaders argued that dismantling their defenses would leave humanity vulnerable, while scientists and diplomats urged immediate action to avoid disaster. After hours of heated discussion, President Carter made a decision. He announced that humanity would begin dismantling its largest warships, but only after ensuring key colonies were protected. It was a compromise, though many doubted it would satisfy the aliens. News of the plan spread quickly, sparking protests around the globe. Some supported the move, believing peace was worth the risk. Others accused the government of surrendering to an unknown enemy. Amid the chaos, Richard Grayson found himself at the center of attention. As the designer of the Colossus Asterisk, he faced immense pressure from both sides. One evening, Emily visited her father in his workshop. "Dad," she said gently, "you have a chance to make things right. Dismantle the Colossus Asterisk. Show everyone you believe in this." Richard hesitated, staring at the blueprints scattered across his desk. "If I do this, people will see me as a failure. They'll think I wasted years building something that brought us nothing but trouble." "It's not failure," Emily replied firmly. "It's courage. You're proving you care more about humanity than your pride." After a long silence, Richard nodded. The next day, he held a press conference, standing before cameras with the Colossus Asterisk visible in the background. "I built this ship because I believed it would protect us," he began, his voice steady. "But now I see it represents something else, our arrogance. That ends today." With those words, he signaled for the dismantling process to begin. As crews worked to take apart the Colossus Asterisk, nations followed suit, broadcasting their efforts lived to demonstrate sincerity. Slowly, humanity began complying with the aliens' demands. Factories shifted focus from weapons to sustainable technologies, and colonies scaled back expansion plans. Meanwhile, Laura continued her advocacy, traveling across the globe to encourage unity. She spoke passionately about the need for cooperation, urging people to embrace this new direction. Her message resonated with many, especially younger generations who saw hope in a future free from constant fear of war. Far away, the alien armada observed silently. They watched as humanity took its first steps toward change, neither interfering nor offering reassurance. For now, the Veil, the name the aliens called themselves, waited to see if humans would follow through. Back on Earth, doubts lingered. Would dismantling the ships truly bring peace, or was humanity simply delaying the inevitable? Despite these uncertainties, one thing was clear. For the first time, people were beginning to question their assumptions about strength and survival. And perhaps, just perhaps, that was enough to start a new chapter, not just for humanity, but for the galaxy. As the days passed, humanity held its breath. The dismantling of the largest warships continued, with broadcasts showing pieces of metal being recycled and factories repurposed for peaceful projects. Despite these efforts, no sign came from the aliens to indicate whether they were satisfied. Tension lingered in every corner of human society. People went about their lives, but fear of the unknown loomed over them like a storm cloud. Laura Myers worked tirelessly to keep morale high. She traveled from city to city, speaking at rallies and conferences, reminding people that this was an opportunity for growth. "We've taken the first step," she told crowds gathered in public squares. "Now we need to show the universe, and ourselves, that we're serious about change." Emily Grayson joined her on several trips, helping spread the message. Together, they visited schools, research centers, and even military bases where soldiers felt uneasy about losing their weapons. "This isn't weakness," Emily would say. "It's strength. It takes courage to choose peace when everyone expects you to fight." Richard Grayson also played a role, though quietly. After dismantling the Colossus Asterisk, he threw himself into designing new technologies focused on sustainability. His work inspired others in the engineering community to shift their focus as well. Slowly, humanity began rebuilding, not just its ships, but its mindset. Meanwhile, Captain Samantha Brooks and her crew aboard the Aurora prepared for another mission. The aliens had not contacted them again, but President Carter ordered the ship to return to the location of the alien armada. This time, they carried gifts, small devices created using sustainable energy sources, along with recordings of Earth's music, art, and languages. It was a humble offering, meant to show humanity's creativity and desire for connection. When the Aurora reached the coordinates, the alien armada was there, waiting. As before, one ship detached itself and approached them. The shimmering silver vessel stopped close enough for the crew to see the reflections in its surface. A hologram of the alien appeared once more, its form shifting constantly. "You have begun undoing your harm," the alien said, its voice calm but firm. "Yet doubt remains within your kind. Many still cling to old ways." Samantha stepped forward, her hands raised in a gesture of peace. "We know it won't happen overnight," she replied. "But we're trying. These gifts are symbols of what we can create when we choose cooperation over conflict." The alien studied the items brought by the humans. Then it spoke again. "Your actions are noticed. But true change requires more than dismantling machines. It demands unity among your people and respect for all life. If you continue down this path, we will guide you toward harmony. Fail, and we will act decisively." With those words, the hologram vanished, and the alien ship returned to the armada. The crew of the Aurora watched silently as the massive fleet disappeared into the depths of space. Though the aliens hadn't promised peace, their response gave hope that humanity's efforts weren't in vain. Back on Earth, news of the encounter renewed determination. People who had doubted the plan now saw it as their best chance for survival. Governments poured resources into education, science, and diplomacy, aiming to build a future based on collaboration rather than conquest. Laura stood on a stage one evening, addressing a crowd of thousands. "This is our moment," she said, her voice filled with conviction. "For so long, we've defined progress by how much we could take from each other, from nature, from the stars. Now we have a chance to redefine it. Progress isn't about domination. It's about balance, understanding, and working together." Her words resonated deeply. Across the globe, communities came together to support the changes. Artists painted murals celebrating peace, scientists shared discoveries openly, and leaders worked to heal divisions between nations. Even Richard, once consumed by pride in his creations, found joy in building tools that helped rather than harmed. In orbit around Earth, the remnants of the Colossus were melted down and reshaped into parts for exploratory vessels. These new ships, smaller and designed for discovery, symbolized humanity's shift in purpose. Instead of preparing for war, they were built to seek knowledge and forge connections. Though challenges remained, humanity had started something remarkable. For the first time, people looked to the stars not with fear or greed, but with hope. And somewhere beyond the edge of known space, the Veil watched, waiting to see if humanity would stay true to its promise. Months passed, and humanity continued its journey toward change. The dismantling of warships was nearly complete, and the shift in mindset had begun to take root. Factories once dedicated to building weapons now produced tools for exploration and sustainability. Colonies worked together to share resources instead of competing for them. It wasn't perfect. There were still arguments and setbacks, but progress was undeniable. Laura Myers became a symbol of hope during this time. Her speeches inspired millions, and her name was spoken with admiration across the globe. People admired not just her words, but her determination. She traveled constantly, visiting schools, research centers, and even remote outposts to encourage unity. "This isn't just about avoiding war," she would say. "It's about becoming something greater than we've ever been." Emily Grayson joined her mother figure on many of these trips, sharing her own story as someone who had helped redesign technology for peaceful purposes. Together, they showed people that change was possible, even when it felt overwhelming. Richard Grayson, too, found a new sense of purpose. After dismantling the Colossus Asterisk, he focused on creating machines that improved life rather than destroyed it. His work earned him respect, not as a builder of warships, but as a pioneer of innovation. Meanwhile, Captain Samantha Brooks and her crew aboard the Aurora Asterisk embarked on missions of discovery. With no alien ships appearing in recent months, humanity turned its attention to exploring the stars. The Aurora Asterisk visited uncharted regions of space, mapping planets and moons while collecting data about the universe. Each discovery brought excitement and renewed optimism. One day, as the Aurora Asterisk drifted near a distant star system, an unexpected signal appeared on their scanners. At first, the crew thought it might be another alien ship, but the signal was different, gentler, almost like a greeting. When they traced its source, they found a small object floating in space. It looked like a sphere made of light, pulsing softly with colors that shifted like waves. Samantha ordered the ship to approach cautiously. As they drew closer, the sphere emitted a low hum, filling the bridge with warmth. Then a voice spoke, not in words, but in feelings and images that flowed directly into their minds. The message was simple: "You have chosen wisely. Continue." The crew sat in stunned silence, overwhelmed by the beauty of the experience. Marcus Reed, the linguist, struggled to describe what he had felt. "It wasn't language," he said finally. "It was understanding. They're telling us we're on the right path." When the Aurora Asterisk returned to Earth, news of the glowing sphere spread quickly. People saw it as proof that humanity's efforts were being noticed and appreciated. The aliens, whoever or whatever they were, had given them a sign of approval. Hope blossomed around the world, and more people embraced the idea of working together for a better future. President William Carter addressed the United Nations Space Council, his tone filled with cautious optimism. "We've taken steps toward peace, but our journey is far from over. Let's use this moment to strengthen our commitment to cooperation, not just among ourselves, but with the universe." Under his leadership, governments launched initiatives to promote education, science, and diplomacy. Artists painted murals celebrating unity, musicians composed songs about hope, and teachers encouraged students to dream of a brighter tomorrow. Even those who had once opposed the changes began to see the benefits. Years later, humanity looked back on this period as a turning point. The lessons learned from their encounter with the Veil, the mysterious alien guardians, had reshaped their understanding of power and progress. Warships were replaced by vessels designed for exploration. Greed gave way to generosity, and fear transformed into curiosity. On a quiet evening, Laura stood on a hill overlooking the city bathed in golden sunlight. Beside her stood Emily, now a confident young woman leading projects to explore the stars. "Do you think we'll ever meet them again?" Emily asked, gazing at the horizon. Laura smiled. "Maybe. But I think they'll always be watching, waiting to see if we stay true to what we've started." As night fell, the stars twinkled above, countless and endless. Humanity had taken its first steps toward becoming part of something larger than itself. And though challenges lay ahead, one truth remained clear. The choice to seek peace had opened doors no one could have imagined. Years passed, and humanity entered a new era. The lessons learned from their encounter with the Veil guided every decision, shaping a future focused on cooperation rather than conflict. Warships were now relics of the past, displayed in museums as reminders of how far humanity had come. In their place stood sleek, eco-friendly vessels designed for exploration and discovery. Emily Grayson stood aboard one such ship, the Nova Dawn *, gazing out at the stars. She was no longer the uncertain young engineer who had helped dismantle the Colossus *. Now, she led missions to chart unexplored regions of space, her confidence bolstered by years of experience. Beside her was Marcus Reed, who had become an expert in deciphering alien languages. His skills had proven invaluable during encounters with other civilizations, most of which were peaceful and curious about humanity's transformation. Samantha Brooks, now retired from active duty, often visited Emily and Marcus to hear stories of their adventures. "You're living my dream," she would say with a smile. "Every time I see your reports, I feel proud of what we started." Back on Earth, Laura Myers continued to inspire others. Though older, her passion remained undiminished. She wrote books, gave lectures, and mentored young scientists and leaders. Her message was simple: we are part of something bigger than ourselves. Our choices affect not just us, but the universe. Richard Grayson spent his later years teaching engineering students how to design tools that improved life without harming the environment. His classes were always full, filled with eager minds ready to carry forward his legacy. He often joked that dismantling the Colossus * was the best mistake he ever made. As decades went by, humanity thrived. Colonies grew into vibrant communities, connected by networks of trade and knowledge sharing. Artists created works inspired by the stars, while scientists unlocked mysteries once thought impossible to solve. Even the Veil reappeared occasionally, not as judges, but as guides. They shared fragments of their vast knowledge, helping humanity learn sustainable ways to explore and coexist with the cosmos. One day, Emily and her crew discovered something extraordinary: a planet teeming with life, untouched by war or destruction. It was a rare find, a world where ecosystems flourished in perfect harmony. As they studied it, Marcus translated a faint signal emanating from the planet's surface. The message was brief but profound: balance is life. Tears welled up in Emily's eyes as she realized the significance of the discovery. Humanity had finally earned the trust of the universe, or at least a small part of it. Returning to Earth, she shared the news with Laura, who listened intently before hugging her tightly. "This is what we've been working toward," Laura said softly. "A future where we belong among the stars." The Veil watched silently from afar, satisfied that their intervention had sparked lasting change. They knew humanity still had much to learn, but they also saw potential: a species capable of growth, compassion, and wonder. In time, humanity began leaving its mark on the galaxy, not through conquest, but through acts of kindness and curiosity. Ships carried not weapons, but gifts, seeds, music, stories, and art. Each mission strengthened bonds between civilizations, proving that unity was possible even among the most different beings. On clear nights, people gathered outside to look at the stars. Children pointed at constellations, dreaming of the adventures awaiting them. Elders shared tales of how humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger because of it. Though uncertainties remained, hope burned brightly in every heart. Humanity had chosen peace over power, understanding over arrogance, and connection over isolation. And somewhere among the stars, the Veil smiled, knowing the universe was safer and more beautiful because of it.